Today, the Branson Fam is taking you on Pink Jeep Tours. It's one of the best ways that you can see Branson and all of the beautiful views that the Ozarks has to offer. Let's go check it out right after we roll that intro.
Roll it!
Pink Jeep Tours is owned by the Hershen family that also owns Silver Dollar City as well as some other attractions. In these tours, you will experience the magic of the Ozarks like never before from the comfort of a custom pink Jeep Wrangler. You will wind past lakeside landmarks and ascend off-road trails to the summit of Baird Mountain while expert local guides bring centuries of mountain history and culture to life. Pink Jeep Tours is located on the Highway 76 strip across the street from Retromania and between the Titanic and Ferris wheel. Their Jeeps are equipped to carry 9 passengers and the tour guide driver. You can book as few as one person all the way up to private tours, which will allow you to have the entire Jeep to just your group and the tour guide. We are going to talk about their business while we roll footage of our adventure in April of 2023. We will be popping in and out of the footage with voiceovers and allowing you to hear some of what our trip sounded like.
Children must be 2 years old or older to go on the adventure. Pink Jeep Tours provides car seats for children aged 2 to 4 like our 3-year-old Carson. On our tour, we had the 4 of us plus 2 other lovely guests. As the tour guide told us, for the next 2 hours we became like one family as we traveled throughout the Branson area. We swung by a couple areas that you might recognize from some of our other videos on our way to downtown Branson. Pink Jeep Tours currently offers 6 different tours and will soon be opening a shorter tour to add to their repertoire. If you are in the Branson area during the Christmas season, they offer an 8th tour that is the Branson Christmas Tour.
Currently, they are running the 2-hour Lakes and Landmarks Tour. In this tour, you will marvel at natural and man-made wonders on a scenic tour winding through Branson's hills and valleys, along lakeside shorelines and up mountain roads. Hear tales of early pioneers, delve into the history of life on the river, and see popular landmarks. You will also experience an exclusive 4x4 adventure atop Baird Mountain.
The second tour is the 2-hour Downtown to Mountaintop Branson Tour. In it, you will experience the beauty and culture of the Ozarks from downtown Branson to the top of Baird Mountain. You will explore exclusive 4x4 off-road trails and soak up stunning views of Table Rock Lake. You will also stop at the Branson Bell and more. You will explore local history and natural ecosystems as well.
The third tour combines the first 2 into a 3-hour tour that they call the Best of Branson Tour. We would highly recommend signing up for this tour if you have never visited Branson before and want to see a little bit of everything. Pink Jeep Tours also offers all 3 of these tours during sunset. The price of the sunset tour is slightly higher, but imagine how beautiful the views will be.
Now listen along as our amazing tour guide Joe tells us a little bit about the downtown Branson area.
So a lot of people will come, they'll park down here, and they can walk the blocks. We do have a free trolley service called the Branson Trolley. The trolley's name is Sparky. So we went on there. You've done everything in Branson, haven't you? You have done every single thing in Branson. All right, now that we're down into historic Branson, so we've got the farmhouse. That's a great place to eat breakfast, but they're not very big. So you'll see a long line out here on the weekend. We got the Branson Cafe right here. That's the oldest cafe that we have here in Branson, established in 1910. And there's just a lot of little stores mixed in here. Dick's, Five, and Dime. This is one of the big popular attractions. There's only 4 of those left in the country. That one is full wall to wall, and I just say it's a stuff, nostalgic candies. And if you need something for Elvis, you can take something back. Grandma, because she loves Elvis, right? There's an Elvis section, and there's a Star Wars section, a Wizard of Oz. A little bit of something for everybody. So this block here, just like every big city, Branson had a fire. Remember, Chicago had a fire, St. Louis had a fire, Branson had a fire. The fire of 1912 burned down this entire block here. They were able to put the fire out using a bucket brigade. So they'd go down near the water, they'd get buckets of water, and they were able to stop the fire. But all of these buildings now are post-1912. This water here that you've seen walking along the landing, this is known as our Lake Taneycomo. It is a cold water lake. It's about 48 degrees. Do you know where the name Taneycomo comes from? Anybody?
Any county.
Everybody says that it's an old Indian name for the Osage Indians that used to be here. That's not it. We keep things simple here in Branson. It's because that Branson is in Taney County, Missouri. Taneycomo. Yep. That's all it is.
As you can tell, Joe knows his Branson history. Joe also recommended places to eat, things to do in Branson, and answered just about any question that a guest could ever ask. He remained professional while being super entertaining and making us all laugh more than just a few times. Our next leg of the tour took us through historic downtown Hollister.
This is actually the original building of the Hollister Fire Department. So now it's all hook and ladder pizza, still fire department themed. We have the Old English Inn here with the red awning. You can still stay in a hotel room, a little Victorian style hotel room. And then we've got the train station up here. The train actually came to Hollister in 1903. It took 2 more years to get that train up to Branson. So they were getting tourists here and visitors here in Hollister before Branson by the train.
After Hollister, we drove by College of the Ozarks and saw the freshly installed hollow cross that was put in near the Gates of Opportunity only a couple days before our pink Jeep tour.
Driving past C of O led us to our first pit stop, and what a great place to stop. If you have ever watched our local coffee shop video, you already know how highly I think of Vintage Paris. After we pulled off the road, our tour guide instructed us that we could get coffee or use the restroom at Vintage Paris. A couple members of our newly minted temporary family took advantage of the opportunity, while others stayed at the amazing scenic overlook across the street from the coffee shop. Joe even took some of his time to teach our girls about Table Rock Dam and lakes that surround it. We appreciate how he could have informative conversations with our kids, aged 3 to 5, then turn around and advise the adults on other things designed for people a little older.
After we loaded back on the Jeep, it was time to head to Baird Mountain. If you have followed our channel for very long, you've probably seen or heard about most of the things that we have visited to this point. Baird Mountain is a privately owned area, and the only way to visit it is to ride on pink Jeep tours or to be personally invited by the wonderful Hershen family. This was our very first time to see Baird Mountain, and this off-road adventure plus the amazing tour guide is what truly separates pink Jeep tours from everything else.
Okay, it's gonna get a little bumpy, all right?
Well, and we get to choose how bumpy we're gonna get. So because we're all one family for the next hour, we get to choose. So I could do a level 1, I'll call it, slow like a sloth. I can do a level 2. That'll be a little more moderate. That'll keep the tour moving. Or I can do a level 3, and we can turn this Jeep sideways and upside down and maybe do a loop like a Ferris wheel.
Go for it, Carson.
Okay, the kids always say straight.
Punch it.
Louder, I gotta hear you.
Punch it.
Yes.
And punch it we sure did. Well, for about 30 seconds until Carson decided it was too bumpy for her taste and we slowed it back down a bit. This bumpy climb was an absolute blast, and little did we know that it was only a small taste of the fun that we were going to have during our off-road adventure. As we were cruising to our destination, Joe took time to explain the nature around us. He informed us of the natural wildlife in the area, the limestone that most of the mountain consists of, and the types of trees that we were looking at.
And when that bulldozer came around the corner, he stopped, called back to the office and said, "Hey guys, I found you something." Now I'll tell you, we don't know a lot about it, but I have gone down there on the limestone. I put my flashlight back there. Now I can't see very far back there from here to about the back of the Jeep, but I can see little stalactites hanging from the ceiling. So that tells me 2 things. 1, it's been there for a long time, and 2, that makes it an active cave system.
On our trip up the peak, we came across some wild turkey. When we say that you get your money's worth with Joe as your tour guide, we mean the dude can do a little bit of everything.
Ah, there we go, nice and smooth. So yep, we're just driving here down the sidewalk.
I did not expect that.
Here we are on the steepest descent in all of Pink Jeep location.
Now on to what we consider the truly unique part of Pink Jeep Tours. At the top of Baird Mountain is a former limestone quarry. As of April 2023, Pink Jeep Tours just began using a new way down to that quarry turned into Jeep Playground. This 5-story descent was exhilarating and is something that none of us had ever experienced before. As of the filming of this, they are yet to name this part of their adventure. If you can come up with a fun and family-appropriate name for the 5-story off-road descent, type it down below in the comment section and we will make sure it gets passed along for consideration. We were honored to be the first social media group to get to film this exciting section.
Now, as you guys can see, we are in what used to be a limestone rock quarry. What makes this limestone rock quarry unique is all the rock that was blasted out of here was crushed up, put on a mile-long conveyor belt, and used to build Table Rock Dam. 1.1 million cubic yards of concrete to build the dam.
If you are going to have some fun off-road in a Jeep, you might as well take it through some water as well.
Here we go!
Do you guys remember the secret words? Okay!
Our time spent on the former quarry was an absolute blast. Up here we drove through multiple puddles, we climbed some rock hills, and we even got to learn a bit more about the land that the quarry sits on.
It's this rock right here that is holding up the entire formation that goes up and around. So this is where we remind you folks to keep your hands and feet inside the Jeep at all times. If you look down here in the bedrock, in the quarry floor, you'll see the little spider marks kind of there. It looks like a spider web. Those are actually blast points from the dynamite. You can see where the dynamite would have blasted and caused the stress cracks in the bedrock. And then right up here on the passenger side, you'll see that we have a sinkhole, what looks like a sinkhole. Now, I believe that before they blew all the rock out of here, because we would have been another 100 feet in the air driving on the rock before they took it all out, that there was probably a cave system here that is now gone because, well, the rock's gone. So this was probably part of a cave system. Now, we don't know a lot about this cave either, but it could be. We're on one big mound of rock up here. This could be interconnected with the other cave that we saw. It all could be one big cave underneath here. We are in the cave state, right?
Upon exiting the quarry, Joe took us up to one of the most breathtaking views in the Ozarks. On top of Baird Mountain is a cabin that one of the Hershans built over by SDC, and they moved it to the top of the mountain when they opened up Pink Jeep Tours. Also at the top is a beautiful scenic overlook.
It is from this overlook that I was able to film an aerial view of some of the fun that we had in the quarry. If you listen closely, you can even hear Charlie yell, "Punch it!"
We had so much fun in the quarry playground. Here's an aerial view of the rock climb section that we showed earlier. Pink Jeep Tours feels exhilarating and refreshing while you're going through their obstacle course, but at no point did even our 5-year-old feel unsafe. Charlie absolutely loved every minute of our time off-road and would probably still be aboard Joe's Jeep if we allowed her to keep riding. After our trip was over, she even mentioned following in Joe's footsteps and becoming a Pink Jeep tour guide when she is old enough.
We love that they have a wagon at the top of Baird Mountain. They didn't tell us this, but we like to think it symbolizes the original way that settlers would have approached the Branson area. Then as the world has changed, they now offer the most modern way of climbing the mountain. Check out the honorary members of the fam as they come to join me atop the mountain and enjoy the wonderful view.
Baird Mountain has an approximate elevation of 1,332 feet and perhaps the best lake view in the entirety of the Branson area. It is at the summit that Joe switched over from Jeep tour guide to photographer. He showed us a creative way to make a really cool photo. He also then gave the girls a quick tour of the cabin and taught them a little about the homestead life from long ago. Inside the cabin shows what life was like before electricity and how settlers cooked their food and kept it refrigerated.
Our girls absolutely loved learning about a time that ended well before they were alive. They also really enjoyed sitting in the wagon and pretending to drive it. I have not the slightest clue, however, where they got an idea to pretend that their mom was the animal pulling the wagon.
Don't fall down.
As we began our way down Baird Mountain, Joe educated us just a little bit more on the history of our area.
So this little trail here we call the old logging trail because, well, that's what it was. So back before the dam was there, the water that came through here was known as the White River. So they would come up here and cut down these trees, primarily these cedar trees, these eastern red cedar trees. They would float them in the White River. Down just north of the landing, there was a great big warehouse up there called the American Pencil Company. So they used all these cedar trees and they made pencils out of them.
It is also on our way down that Joe offered our girls one final opportunity to yell,
Punch it!
Here we go.
On our way back to headquarters, we went across Table Rock Dam.
So up here we've got Table Rock Lake. Down below we've got Lake Tanicola.
And after we crossed the dam, Joe swung us around so that we could check out the open gates at the top of the dam and check out the fish hatchery as they were feeding the fish.
A lot of times you can see the fish jumping up. They see that red truck and they get all excited. Oh yeah, look at him. There he goes.
Just like all great things though, our time aboard Pink Jeep Tours had to come to an end. As we pulled back into their headquarters, we decided to check out their gift shop. After a day of adventuring, of course our girls wanted to purchase some binoculars. Just like we said earlier, Charlie is considering a full-time career as a Pink Jeep tour guide in the future. What kind of tour guide would she be without some sweet binoculars? Joe was then gracious enough to pose with us for some final photos. We want to thank Pink Jeep Tours and Joe for not only creating a day that our kids will never forget, but also for allowing us to video our time aboard Pink Jeep Tours. We could not recommend their business enough, and if you see Joe, tell him that the Branson fam told you to have him punch it. Until our next adventure, fam, we'll catch y'all later.